Thinking. Uh, all right. I believe we are live now. This seems to have worked. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our December edition of the Localization Fireside Chat. So, today we're going to be talking about pontoon improvements that happened over the year of 2024 and also talk about possible plans going forward in 2025. So this interview style session lasts approximately 30 minutes with 15 minutes expected of Q&A. We might go a little overboard. That's totally fine. We'll see when we get there. And I'll also be sending a satisfaction form after this event so that you can let us know your thoughts and how we can improve going forward. So today I'm here with Brian, Harmeet, and Matias. I'm Delphine, the Mobile Localization Program Manager. I'll be interviewing everyone here today and also moderating. So feel free to ask questions live, both on there's a YouTube chat and our LTNN Community Matrix channel. Um, so that will be my role today. And now I will hand the virtual mic to the other folks here so they can introduce themselves and then we can kick things off. Let's see. Maybe Machash, would you like to start? You're the first one I see on the screen.
I can start. I can start. Hello, hello. My name is Matias, as Delphine already mentioned. I'm based in Slovenia and I work on Pontoon as the developer.
I'm Brian Olson. I'm a program manager. I work on, hopefully you can hear me. I work on the Firefox project as well as Mozilla accounts. And I also help out with lots of other things around the team.
My name is Harmeet. I'm a software engineering intern based out of Toronto, and I also help work on Pontoon mainly.
Great. Thank you for these introductions. Thanks everyone for joining us. As mentioned, this session will be recorded with the same links. So if you're missing it, you can watch it later. Let's start with Harmeet. I think there's a demo you'd want to kick us off with today.
Yep. So what I've been working on mainly for the past few months has been introducing badges to Pontoon. So this is just a very quick demo to like showcase what it's going to look like once you get awarded a badge. So in this example, I'm a reviewer who's already reviewed a few translations here and there. This is one of the translations that I'm going to review. I'm going to click reject, and then boom, we see that I get awarded a badge, confetti pops up on the screen, and I'm prompted to visit our profile page. So if I visit my profile page, I can see that my badge pops up right here. And yeah, I'm at level 1. So there's multiple badges to be gained. So you can get them from reviewing translations, you can get them from creating translations, and you can even get them from promoting users. And yeah, there's multiple levels to each badge as well. So that's mainly the work that I've been doing with badges. This feature is live now, so anyone can start collecting their badges as soon as they want.
That's great. That's pretty cool. Thanks for explaining that. Talking about badges, do you want to go into more what is gamification?
Sure, yeah. So gamification is kind of the idea of adding game-like elements to an already existing system. This is mainly used in the context of software, and what this can look like is, for example, badges, like how we've added in Pontoon. It can look like leaderboards. It can look like some sort of a point system. All in all, what the goal of gamification is usually in software is for people to get a higher sense of engagement and participation. People really like working towards a goal. People really like seeing their achievements displayed on their profile page. So gamification really helps with driving up user engagement and helping people feel rewarded for their work.
Right, absolutely. This is a related question. Maybe you've answered it already, but what was the motivation behind adding these badges? I know part of your response covered that already, but maybe you wanted to go more into that too.
Yeah, sure. So there's basically like 4 main reasons why we wanted to add badges into Pontoon. So as I already mentioned, we wanted to encourage participation within our community. Always great to get more translations, more reviews going on. Um, the next one, as I also already mentioned, was recognizing the contributions of our contributors. Pontoon is obviously like ran by our volunteers, so we really, really appreciate their work and we want them to feel appreciated for their hard work. And badges is one small way of like letting us do that.
Right,
The next one is promoting community growth. So with badges, we want to encourage positive behaviors. So as you could see, I was reviewing translations and I got a badge for reviewing translations. I mentioned that submitting translations and promoting users is also going to count towards your badges. Um, so all of these are positive things that help foster your community, that help grow
right,
localization at Firefox or at Mozilla. So all of these things help contribute to a healthier environment. And
right.
it goes on to my last point, which is we want to enhance trustworthiness within our community. And badges are kind of like a small, very quick way for people to recognize that this user is trustworthy in their translations. They're like, frequent contributor, etc.
That makes sense. And you mentioned badges is a small step in gamification. Does that imply that you already have some ideas of further gamification in Pontoon, or not yet, or is that something you can't share yet?
It's something we can't share yet.
That's secret. Okay. Um, Thank you. That was very helpful. Moving on to user banners. So why was this change added?
Yeah, so I can share my screen again to show what users' banners look like. So we do have five main types of banners, as you can see here. Um, One for new users, one for translators, managers, project managers, and administrators. Administrators, as in people who have site-wide admin permissions on Pontoon. And what this looks like in practice is if you were to go to the translation workspace, you can see that certain users have user banners right underneath their profile photos. So the motivation behind adding user banners was, as I said, for the last point for why we added badges, we want to enhance trustworthiness within our community. And having status banners displayed right underneath someone's profile photo in the translation workspace is a very quick and easy way to see what their role is in this community and hopefully get a better idea of the quality of their translation, quality of their like what they're submitting, and yeah, just enhance transparency as to what their role is.
Right. Yeah, and that also helps with discoverability, as you mentioned, because you can right away see who this person is. You might be able to reach out to that person much more easily than in the past where people didn't even know who was the manager in their team, who to reach out to. That probably
Yeah,
helps with
exactly.
that too. Great. Thank you, Harmeet. That was really interesting. Um, so moving to Brian and concerning notifications via email, a lot of stuff has happened on that front. So my next question is for you, Brian. You and the team have recently been working on some improvements in Pontoon around emails and notifications. So can you tell me more about these changes?
Yeah, we've had a fair amount of changes in Pontoon around how we're able to communicate with our community within the Pontoon tool. Um, so, as most people who are familiar with Pontoon, there's a fair number of notifications you can get around like what's going on in a certain project or in your locale. Um, so we actually implemented a way in which you can actually receive those notifications via like an email digest. In the past, you've had to rely on either being logged into Pontoon or making use of the wonderful add-on to get notifications within your browser. But if you're not on your computer, um, there really hasn't been a way for you to be able to get notified of like what's happening in Pontoon. Um, yeah, we have a setting within your profile, which is pretty easy to set up. I can actually just quickly show you. I'll share my screen here. Um, So this is the, the profile that you would just go to when you click on your profile picture and then click on profile. And then if you scroll down to, we have an email section and this notification subscription section here. So right now, like if you have these notifications enabled, so like if you want to be notified of like when new strings happen, project target dates, all these things, you can enable those. And then if you're interested in getting those sent to you in an email digest, you can actually click on this right column here. And then you can choose your frequency. So if you're only checking like what's happening in your locale like once a week, you can choose weekly. Or if you want to have it daily, like I'm using it daily, so I'll click on daily. And that way I will be able to get an email once a day with all the notifications. And I have an update available. Hold on one second. So I'm going to try and find that stop share screen. So that's basically what's going on with notifications. But that's, yeah, one of many other things that we're working on around communication within Pontoon. You're muted, Delphine.
Thank you. The people who can they have to opt in for these emails and notifications, right? Otherwise, you don't receive them. Is that correct, or is that different? And then everybody can just opt in or out of these specific communications.
So you won't be sent an email if you don't include the notification type and include an email.
Mm-hmm.
That's separate from a different thing. I guess maybe we can jump to that.
Mm-hmm.
Recently we maybe I want to say in May, we implemented the email communications opt-in, which I don't know if that was what you were talking about.
Yeah, I think that's what
Um,
it was.
yeah, so um, in May, I think we included an opt-in for receiving email communications from Mozilla. So in the past, we've been able to send things via like transactional emails, which is just like things relating to your account or relating to the Pontoon service. But we wanted to be able to send more communication more frequently regarding other things that are happening at Mozilla localization that affect the community, but aren't related to the tool itself. So now I guess I'll show you I'll share my screen again. we we have this email section here with a section called news and updates. And so this is like an opt-in to receive like other communications from Mozilla localization. So for example, if you had this enabled, you probably received an email from us about this event. So this is the kind of email communication that this particular opt-in consent is related to. So is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering if they were still linked somehow, or if you didn't have to
Right.
accept transactional, but that you could still choose
Yeah.
the.
So
Yeah,
you
that's
don't need
great.
to click news and updates if you still want to receive the notification digest.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and that wouldn't include anything about events. We wouldn't include that. That would be like,
No, that it's
new users.
strictly, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
strictly
Okay.
Pontoon notifications.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Great. Thanks for clarifying that part.
Hmm.
Um, so my next question is, I've I don't think you've talked about it. I've also noticed a new option in settings regarding a monthly activity summary. What is that?
Yeah. You briefly saw that on my screen, but it's right
That's what,
below the news and updates
okay.
section. So that's something that was just recently implemented by Matias and Harmeet. Um, and it is a monthly activity summary. So it's related to both so if you enable this, you can receive an email once a month, usually around the beginning of a month for the activity that happened in the previous month. So I think we haven't sent one out yet. So the first one will be happening sometime next year. And when you have that enabled, so say it gets sent at the beginning of January, it'll say like, here's all the work you did in the month of December. So that'll include things like your like how many translations you did, how many reviews you did if you're like a reviewer. And it will also include like information on like all the activity in the locale that you're participating in. So it's a way for you to get visibility on what's happening in your locale, like who's active and how many translations you've done. It also include a comparison with the month previous to that. So, for example, if
Oh,
you're
that's
like
good.
in the process of catching up on strings, you can use that to see like, how your progress has been compared to the thing, to the previous month. So it's just one more way for us to provide more transparency and insight into what's going on your end. So if you're interested in that, you can go into your profiles. There's the email section, and then just click the monthly activity summary to enable.
Great. That is super helpful and a great improvement. Um, are there any other email changes happening down the pipeline that you'd like to call out?
Let's see. Yes, there is one more. Um, so this is also happening now or soon. Um, is we have some additional like um automated emails that we're implementing into Pontoon. This is mostly geared towards new accounts. So one of the areas we thought we could improve uh, for the new contributor experience is just learning how Pontoon works and learning how Mozilla localization works. It's a lot. So uh, for someone who stumbles upon Pontoon localization, is interested in helping to localize, we wanted to provide some helpful emails when they first create an account on Pontoon on how to get started. So it'll include like information on like just like what the translation process looks like, who to get in touch with if like they're contributing to a locale, like how to find their locale managers. A lot of like very basic information for people that have been in the Pontoon ecosystem for a long time. Stuff you just sort of already know, but for something for who's completely new and doesn't have someone helping them, just a way to get them started. So help ease that transition, help them become more involved in the community quicker, and hopefully to help them not get frustrated with the localizer experience.
Yeah, and navigating all of that as a newcomer can be tricky for sure. Not very straightforward, so that's helpful. Is there anything else around emails that maybe that anyone here would like to add on this topic before we move on?
No,
Seems
I
like
think that's a
that's
good coverage. The
yeah,
this feature shipped. So basically, if you create an account until now, you will already start receiving these onboarding emails.
yeah, great. Okay, well, moving on then. Now I'm gonna ask some questions to Maciaś. So we're at the end of the year. All these great stuff has happened on Pontoon during 2024, and we're already thinking about 2025 at this point. And as last year and in previous years, I believe, it's time to vote for new Pontoon features. So Maciaś, can you give
Mhm.
us a sneak peek into the kinds of features your users will be able to vote for in the 2025 survey we will send out?
Yes, absolutely. It's that time of the year again. Let me share the survey, which is not published yet, but I hope you can see my screen. Already has features prepared on which you can vote. So the idea is the same as in the past years. We have a collection of 10 features, and then users can give it each feature 1 to 5 votes. And then we're going to collect these votes, and the 3 features that collect most votes, we commit to implement. I can very quickly go through what's available on the list. So the first one here is the use of generic machine translation engines with pre-translation in addition or instead of the custom machine translation engines, which are currently only available. We want to ask localizers if they want this because the custom engines are not available for some locales, and for some also don't perform very well. The next one is a batch action for pre-translation. Pre-translation can only be turned on and off per project within a locale right now. But here you would also be able to use pre-translation if it's not available in your project. So you would just use it on a specific set of strings, maybe in a file or in a tag, for instance. Next is a Fluent specific feature, which is about giving you autocomplete hints if you're referencing another message from the message you're translating. And you have multiple variants available, like based on declensions or gender variants, we would list them for you. Then there's a virtual keyboard feature request. That's also specific for some locales which have special characters, but there's actually many of them, and might find some of those special characters hard to access from the physical keyboard. Fifth is a keep unsaved translations as you navigate between strings. Right now, you can't really navigate between translation strings after you make a change in the editor. So this would allow you to persist all the changes that you've made and then move between strings back and forth without losing those changes. Then we have a feature that's specific to comments. You would have the ability to edit or delete them. For instance, if you make a mistake or a typo and submit a comment, right now you basically have to correct yourself. Following is a link to projects from the concordance search results. Then number 8 is a feature to be able to copy translations that have already been submitted to other locales to your locale in batch. That's something that would be useful, for example, if you're translating to Canadian English and some other variant of English is already available, or Spanish, or if you're translating to Lower Serbian, but Upper Serbian is already available. So something to help with translations of similar locales in particular. Then we have the ability to report abusive content in both suggestions and comments. This one probably doesn't need a further explanation. And the last but not least, the ability to preview Fluent strings. As you know, Fluent can have pretty complex strings sometimes, and the syntax and even the rich editor might be difficult to comprehend. And we'd like to do something similar that we have on the Project Fluent website, where we give you a preview of an example how such string would look like. So this is the 10 features. And then once you're done voting, then there's always a final screen in which you can propose your own ideas. I hope I made these a little bit clearer. By the way, the survey is going out tomorrow and is going to run until January 6th.
Okay. And you'll notify people through the usual communication channels, right? I guess so.
Mostly the ones that Brian talked about earlier. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna send emails, notifications. So yeah, I would encourage everyone who hasn't to subscribe to email notifications. It's very easy to unsubscribe, but I don't think we're sending too many messages to be annoying. So everybody's welcome to subscribe.
Yeah, we try. We try the best we can. But so many interesting things happen. We have to talk about them some way. Great. Yeah, thanks. That's helpful. So this is going out tomorrow. We're still on time, so I'm gonna flow through the questions. So Maciej, again, so looking back at last year's survey, what were the top features that users voted for and that actually got and why do you think they resonated with the community is actually the rest of the sentence for this one.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Delphine. For some reason, I suspected that you were going to ask this. So I'm going to go to Mozilla Altanen blog, and I'm going to fire up a blog post here. 2024 Pontoon survey results. written by Delphine almost exactly a year ago, and let me read it for you.
Wow, one day, yeah.
So these are the three top picks from last year's survey. The first is ability to edit translation memory entries. The second is improvements to overall Pontoon performance, especially within the translation workbench and dashboards. And the third is the ability to propose new terminology entries. These were the top picks last year.
And that's what we worked on this. They were
Yes.
all implemented. Yeah. Okay.
To be completely honest, I can say maybe a word or two on that. The first two are actually fully implemented. The third one isn't implemented yet. So we still have work to do there. So the first one, I can actually maybe show it to you quickly. So this is a new tab on the locale page. It's not accessible to all users, obviously, because you'll be changing translation memory entries here, and you need special permissions to access this. But you can basically list all the translation memory entries that are available within the locale, which basically means all your translations that have been approved in the past. You can search through them, and you have the ability to edit. Maybe something's wrong here, and you fix the mistake. But I'm not going to save this because it's actually perfectly fine. You can also delete it, but I'm also not going to delete it because, like I said, it's fine and it's useful. And the third thing that you can do is you can also upload any TMX files you have locally, maybe from some other projects. There's a warning about license and permits, so be mindful of what you're uploading because this is going to be shared with your entire team. And that, for instance, allows you to, I don't know, upload translations from some other open source projects, for example, and then leverage that as you translate and also within pre-translation. Yeah, so that's translation memory management. That was the first feature. The second one was improvements to performance. When we saw that and how many votes it got, we knew that there's work to do in terms of improving Pontoon performance before that, but when this feature, which is not exactly a feature, came second from the community, we immediately prioritized it and worked on it in Q1 this year for practically full 3 months. And the most time-consuming transactions, basically any actions that you do, went from the score of around 77 out of 100 to around 87. I don't know what that means anything to anyone, but within the AppDex score definition, that means it went from mediocre to good. That said, we're still not completely satisfied with the snappiness of Pontoon, and we feel like we've hit some upper limit of what we can do with the current infrastructure. So we're seriously considering deploying Pontoon to a different infrastructure next year, because we expect, in particular, improvements to the database performance, which is causing most of the slowness on Pontoon these days. And here I come to the third feature, which is not implemented yet. Ability to propose new terminology entries is not there yet. We haven't shipped that yet, but we plan to do that next year. In addition to the 3 features that will be selected in the 2025 survey.
Great, great. Part of my question was also looking at these top features, why do you think they resonated with the community more than the rest?
That's a great question. Well, I think for the number 2, it's very easy to say. It's probably because Pontoon was very slow, and people, appreciate their time and don't want to
Yeah.
wait for the app. If the app is there to help them, they shouldn't be there to wait for the app.
Hmm.
So that makes perfect sense. And I think for the translation memory entries, I think that makes a lot of sense because there was currently just no way to edit some of the translation memory entries. If you think about it, in the past, we might have had a project. Like if you remember years ago, there was Gaia, as we called it. Uh, so Firefox OS, basically. And these projects are no longer available in Pontoon. But it's possible that some of the strings that were translated back then had a mistake. Even if they were approved, even if they ended up in the project, they were still in the translation memory and they were showing up as you were translating something, but there was just no way to do anything about it. So yeah, that's also not very surprising that we heard about that. And for the last one, I think terminology entries are something that we can still improve tremendously in the future. I think our term base currently consists of 200, maybe 300 strings, and as localizers translate, they can easily notice, oh, it would be nice if this was a term. Let's suggest it. So makes perfect sense. And maybe if I have 10 more seconds,
Yeah,
Delphine,
yeah,
I'm sorry
go ahead.
for going
That's
for
okay.
going long.
We're on time,
Um,
but we're still fine. There are only a couple questions left, and no one has yet posted questions in the other channels, so we're good.
okay, so I just wanted to call out that one of the features that was not picked as the top three features, uh, number 7, add ability to receive automated notifications via email, is, as Brian previously presented, also implemented. So maybe that's a
Okay.
slight apology for not implementing the number 3 yet.
Let's say it is. So, okay, thanks. I think you've partially answered this already, but so you showed us that two features from the previous survey have already been implemented, plus that third one, that extra one. Um,
Yeah.
so you shared a little bit more about these, but then I'm not sure you really addressed the part of what is their impact on users. Do you want to go deeper into that, or do you think you've addressed that in?
Well, I think for translation memory management, we're basically about to see. We're tracking statistics. The feature is relatively new. I think we shipped
Mhm.
it in November, and the data that we had, I checked it a week after the release, and we already saw hundreds of edits and uploads made to the translation memory entries. So we're happy to hear and see that people actually use it. And that's always nice if we're working on something that actually ends up being used. And that's also basically the whole point of the survey, right?
Right.
To have this ability to get such feedback.
Yeah, I hope we get as much feedback as last time because I see we had 365 Pontoon users, 169 voted on the features. That's pretty good numbers. So yeah, everybody vote
Yeah.
when you get it. Okay. Great. Thanks for that. I have one last question. As we wrap up this year, what are you most excited about for Pontoon and its community in the year ahead? And I guess that can be a question for everyone, but I'll start. Let Machesh start since we were on Machesh.
I'm happy to start because this is very easy for me. I'm most excited about continuing to work closely with the community. I think we have an incredible localization community, which is not just a community, it's not just a Mozilla community, and it's not just Mozilla localization community. It has turned out over all these years to be incredibly proactive in providing us feedback, and making feature requests, filing bug reports, and I think we're really privileged to work in such environment. It's super inspiring to know that we're building something together that makes a difference for translators and localization teams. So yeah, I'm very excited about the new year of collaboration and even greater things for Mozilla.
Thanks. That was beautifully put. Does anyone else want to add to what are you most excited about Pontoon and its community in the year ahead?
That's gonna be hard to top. So I'll just say I'll echo Machiaz's statements.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I know it's kind of last minute question, so no worries. Okay, well, we are 5 past the 30 minutes. I still don't see questions coming in. There were a lot of hellos in the YouTube chat. Hello to everyone there. It's really nice to see these messages. But no questions.
I see one
So,
question on YouTube.
yes, go ahead.
There's one question on YouTube from
Oh, there
Mozilla
is. I have
Fusion.
this. Aha. Yes, there are coming more and more small languages. Are there plans to incorporate machine translation for these too? That's a good question. Yeah. This
I
comes
can take
from
that one. The current support for machine translation is basically limited by the providers that we use. So if the provider is gonna support the locale, it's super easy for us to enable it. If it doesn't, then and by provider, I mean the one that we use for most of these things, and that is Google AutoML and Google Translate. Then we're always open to add other providers. So please, if your language is not supported by machine translation, please do let us know. Please find us, please send us an email, ping us on Matrix, file an issue on GitHub, and let us know which locale you're interested in, and we're going to do our best to find the potential solution. Also, in the time of LLMs, things have changed dramatically. I would say in the last couple of years, in terms of support for minority languages. My language is spoken by about 2 million people, and I've seen tremendous progress over the last couple of years of where machine translation and LLMs in particular can help. We'll be more than happy to learn which languages need additional support, and we'll be happy to work with you to make it happen.
Great. Thanks, Matiash. I see Victor has a question also. Are there plans to add custom instructions for specific terms in Mozilla Pontoon to improve AI suggestions and ensure consistency?
I think that's a great idea. If I understand this suggestion correctly, it's basically to have a prompt for LLMs, and when you ask the LLM to translate a string, you would basically provide the term translations with that prompt, so that the LLM would already have the idea. Oh, but we also already we translate this word to this word in this target language, so that the LLM can then take that into account. I think that's a great idea. We don't track that yet. I'm just going to repeat myself from the previous question. Please file a bug or a feature request.
You're muted again, Delphine.
I'm muted, right? Okay. What was I saying? Okay, we're 5 minutes till the end of the session, approximately. I don't see any more questions. Please do post right now on the channels if we still have like 5 minutes to answer that. Otherwise, I wanted to say shortly after this session is finished, I'll be sending a satisfaction form, like I mentioned earlier. And yeah, just thank you. Let's see. There's things coming into the YouTube chat. We are not part of the Mozilla L10N community, but we also use Pontoon, our own servers, and it works fine. Oh, that's great. In fact, it is one of the most advanced open source web translation software available out there. So we just want to thank you for making it available to everyone. That's really nice. That's good to know. Very good feedback. Thank you. Um, yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry,
thank
Delphine.
yes,
Can I have a second? I'm very sorry.
yeah,
I really need to thank Fabian because he's been absolutely amazing contributor to Pontoon. He's done so much. He's caught so many bugs already because they're using their own instance, and our instance is obviously specific, and it's very easy to
right,
miss something that we don't see because we're just deploying to one platform all the time. And they've created an amazing project which is checking on which versions of Debian and Python Pontoon runs. They've provided fantastic documentations for that,
wow,
basically stepping in for us who are not committed to officially provide support for Pontoon to third-party installations. But I think that's very much needed because we know there are several third-party instances of Pontoon available. And thank you is the least I can say to Fabian for all the hard work that he and his team have done over these years.
that's great. Wow, very impressive. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Um, so there, I guess we have some people from France and then two people from Paraguay. Hello, Abelardo. Hello, Alcides. Victor is from Tajikistan. He's here. And then I see hello from Dublin, Mozilla Mexico community. And And I think that is it. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. But hi everyone. It was great to see you in the chat. And thank you for the questions also. I think we can start wrapping up. I don't see any new questions. And this was a very thorough session. I'm happy that we could go through all these improvements and also talk about what's going to happen in 2025. On this, are there any last words anyone wants to say? Um, hello to Netherlands also. um, or we can call it a day. Well, a day. A meeting.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who's watching or who will be watching that's involved in the Mozilla community. Like it's everything we do is fueled by your support, so we really appreciate all of your contributions.
Yeah, I agree and second that for sure. Okay. Well, on this note and on all these nice feelings, this was our last fireside chat of the year. So we will see you next year and to talk about other localization topics at Mozilla, or even interview other people working in other localization fields. So looking forward to that. And everyone enjoy your time off if you have time off. Otherwise, good luck with work and life. And see you soon. Thanks, everyone. And thanks to
Take
the
care. Merry
interpreter.
Christmas, Wim. Happy New
Bye.
Year. Bye bye.
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 Bye.